Alright, I'm going to do a quick video on the futures, some sectors, the major stocks, any of them setting up, and then maybe a couple stocks to watch. So I made an ES video earlier, so I'm just going to run pretty quick through this part. We have the ES, which has pushed up into the call wall last week at SPX 4800, which is around ES 48 or 4790 here. We see price did test up into that multiple times and failure to hold the cross each time, with price pushing back down into the close and below that. We did have a nice open in the futures this morning or this afternoon, with price pushing up and past the shorter term 61.8 here at 47.81. We do now have price coming back below that. So we can go ahead and put 38.2 on here as our first level of support. And so that gives us our S1 and S2, and then resistance 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll have to see if the call wall moves, and we'll get that data in the morning. I believe it was like 20 or 25% of gamma was set to expire, so we'll have to see what happened there. But really what matters, I think, the most, at least to me, moving forward, is the Nasdaq and where that is at currently. I'll make it bigger here real quick. And so we have Nasdaq here on the daily chart. We've got the 61.8 here at 16,280. We've got a cluster of retracements here at 16,200. We have a large volume node here up at about 16,300. And so really just a big box of support here on the Nasdaq in this range. Really 16.2 to 16,400. We had a lot of previous rejections at this price point, and we finally saw a price break up and over that last week, or into last week and last week. Now price just coming back and retesting this area to confirm it as support. We do have a previous cycle 161.8 at 16,537.50. The ES is already trading over its previous cycle 161.8. So it would be interesting to see if we do get the Nasdaq to hold the 16.2 to 16.4 range, if that'll give it enough juice to come up and break through this current all-time high and then this secondary high as well. Previous attempts to push through all-time high result from lower price points, and by the time you get into these highs, you're already out of juice. So if we can find a base here in the 16.2 to 16.4 range, it offers the market a chance to push up and out from a higher price point. Looking forward or looking ahead, if we do see something like that, we've got the resistance 1, 15 or 16,537, 2 at 16,659, and then 3 up here at all-time high 16,767, and then the breakout target would be 16,555.75. So that's looking at the Nasdaq again. I think it's more an opportunity to get long into this price box than a risk. If we do lose 16,200 though, that kind of goes out the window. So we'll have to see how this week goes. Some other futures charts that I wanted to check out were the gold chart. Well, this is a gold chart on a weekly. Gold chart on a weekly. So what we have here is a supportive area at the 38.2 at 1690. It's been tested multiple times, and each time it has produced a bounce. We've got an uptrend from that area into our resistance 1 at 1832. And then we've got a curving resistance line, which has tested 3 times. And that is starting an upslope as well. Resistance 2 and the curve up here at 1930.3. So looking for a break over 1832 here and a hold to test higher up here into the 1930 area. The other futures chart I wanted to check out was Crude. And I'm sure I'll get some blowback on this Crude chart, but I referenced the this is the continuous 1 chart. I reference continuous 2 for the low. I'm not using negative 40.32 to anchor my retracements. So anyway, that's what that is. And then let's go ahead and go into just a monthly chart. All right, so this is a monthly crude chart, assuming the 1727 anchor. And you see we are starting to get this base above the secondary 38.2 at 66.73. We've got some tails coming down and wicking below that price point on the monthly chart, but each one has recovered price so far. I think this chart still offers a push higher up here into 97.61 personally, so I'll be watching for that. Step 1 obviously holding 66.93 area, and then that push up higher. If we want, we can put a retracement here on the weekly high to low, and we get that 61.8 retracement at 76.63. So easy to see what's holding price up here. If we go into a daily chart, even more apparent here. We have almost a rounded top up here at the 61.8 with a set of lower lows until today's candle, obviously. So we'll see what happens here. It could backtest into the 73 range to clear up this extension candle. So if we do see that price move up over 76.63, then we'd look for 85.41 and then up into the 97.99 area. So that's it for futures. Go into sectors real quick. Let's see. So just going through some sectors real quick. We'll go to the weekly thoughts. For anybody who hasn't checked this out, this is publicly available. I try to get it updated at least once a week. It goes through the sectors, the top weights, and then just kind of a general thought at the end of it. So sectors here, we've got 2 and thumbs up. Generally, it's just thumbs up are sectors or stocks that I think have potential to move probably more than 2% that week. No thumbs is probably plus 2% to minus 2%. Then no thumbs down is anything below 2% possible. So you see that set up here, and then the color is whatever it was the previous week. So you see these 3 moved from thumbs up to no thumbs. So anyway, we have technology, the XLK. It's in the thumbs up category. It set a new all-time high last week. You can check that out. It set a new all-time high last week, and it's now testing into the 23.6 here at 173.69 as support 1, support 2 at 170.166, and then target 1 up at the high 177, and then up into 181. Staples was the other one. And we have Staples setting a new all-time high here closing on Friday. Target all the way up at 81 and support at 76. Everything else in the no thumbs pretty much except for healthcare. Healthcare in the no thumbs category because it was a monster the last couple of weeks. A little stretched out into the 161.8 of that previous cycle. So we're going to look for it to come down here into the 137, 138 range as support. Everything else, like I said, no thumbs. You guys can come and check this out yourself. Thumbs up stocks. We got Microsoft fitting the bill here, coming back into the daily point of control at 335. Also cluster retracements here, 333 to 337. Accumulation distribution at all-time highs. So looking for this to bounce back over 337.29 to set up a long trade, or come back down into 334, 335 to get the RR long enough to test up into 337 as target 1. The only other one in the thumbs up section is J&J. We see J&J is now basing above the 61.8 from the all-time high down here into this previous set low. So long as price stays above 169 to 171, with the volume declining higher, we would look for price to maintain that level and then bounce up through the node at 174 and into the all-time high at 179.92. The only thing on the thumbs down list is Tesla, and that's just because it hit this uptrend for the most part and has finally lost support at the 50. Um, I did get news over the weekend of quarterly sales that just crushed it, and so we'll have to watch and see. That may just get this to gap up over 1064.81. It's only $8 away, which is nothing for Tesla. Gap up and over that. And then you have resistance 1 at the downtrend, which is around the 61.8 as well. 1107 range. Then 1159 and 1243.49. Everything else kind of just stuck in the middle here. We have a lot of stocks that have moved higher and are just really trying to consolidate. This is Apple, top weight. If we can get Apple to stick here at 176.53 and just kind of sideways for a few days, I think that really sets this up for a bullish continuation to test back up here into 182, then out into 188, and then this cluster at 191, 192 area. If we do lose that 176.5 area, then down into 173.5, and really just takes the setup away here. Google is one that has potential. Watching Google to set up, it's starting just to develop volume in this range. This is a pretty major cluster on Google, 180 or 2855 to 2876. So that'll be one to watch as well. So that is a run through of some of the stocks that are on this page. We know that we are going to be watching NQ, the Nasdaq, and we can go into the spreadsheet here, also publicly available. And it just kind of shows where stocks are trading from the points of control on different time frames, 6 month and 1 year, the stock and the current price. So we see really the market isn't really extended that far as a collective of stocks. We have the top holdings here just trading 9% above the point of control average. And we see when we break it down into sectors, we are trading just 7.7% above the average. So really not too extended at all. There have been times where these boards have been just bright red all the way up and down, and this is not one of those times. We do see that the two top weights are yellow, 19% and 17%, so they are somewhat extended from value, but we do have the ability to get a lot more extended. So we will watch for topping patterns, but this in itself is not a reason to necessarily worry. We do have some here in the green, Google, Facebook. Facebook, a decent setup as well. This is on a daily chart. We see that the 61.8 here from the highs down here into this low has been resistance about 352 or so. Multiple tests in general range and multiple rejections. We do have support at 329 to 332 area is the first level. Then I'd say the lower end of that's near the 322.66 level. Pretty important area to hold. So if we do get a little bit closer and improve the DRR, that's a good entry long. If not, probably going to watch for a little bit more development here on the right side, just in this range, and see if maybe we can't do sell an iron condor like 330, 350 for a week or two out. And then if we do get that break over that 352 area, we can move up back into all-time highs pretty quickly. Other than that, we see a lot of patches of banks here that are sitting right at points of control. White's also not a bad thing so long as it's not overly extended, like 10 or 12%. These zeros and 0.42s are stocks that are trading right at their points of control a lot in the banks. And then again, we have a couple stocks in the XLK, which we were mentioning. That's Visa and MasterCard. They are not extended from value, so we might want to watch stocks like those for. So here we have MasterCard. We've got it sitting just below the 61.8 from the test into the highs up here at 402 and the low at 306. And resistance at 365, support at 354. We've got a weekly candle close right in between those two areas, so we'll want to watch and see if we get that 365 break. That's at least where I've got my alert set. If we can get that break, volume profile pretty thin. Let's go ahead and do a daily real quick. Yeah, so volume does thin out here above like the 365, 370 range. So we'll be watching for a daily close above that 365. Looks like it hasn't happened here for a while. So, yeah, that's MasterCard. Got a note to look at Duke. Duke it would be an energy play, right? Duke's an energy play, or it's a utilities play. I never remember. They've changed. Anyway, Duke is a play. It is currently basing above the daily 61.8 from the highs in 108 to the low at 96.58. The 61.8 at 103.87. Volume pretty thin above. Probably want to see this 105 break to play the long side. It has been resistance for 5 or 6 days now. But so far, a pretty decent setup here at Duke. And I have J&J written down as well. Oh, we already went over J&J. So, overall, that's the markets. We'll need to watch and see again if Nasdaq can continue to hold this volume node. I think that's probably the pretty important thing to do. And secondarily, I think it's important to see if we get the call wall to shift out tomorrow. If we do get the call wall to shift out, we can get some more positive action upward and outward. Last time I checked through the SPX calls, there was quite a bit out on the 5,000s for January expiry, but because they're so far out of the money, the gamma is not really high enough to counteract all the gamma at the 4,800. So be something to watch. And now we know really what we're watching for here. Really, the trick's going to be find the stocks that can carry, which ones are breaking out. Don't play overextensions. Try to just play the breakouts. And unless this 16.2 to 16.4 area breaks, then it should pretty much all be on the call side as well, I think. So hopefully everybody has a good week moving forward. Hope everybody's had a good couple weeks of the new year. And I hope best for everyone moving forward in the future. Hope you all have a great night.